of you? Why is it every time that I watch you for the last 3 weeks, you almost give me a heart attack and my hair is a little bit grayer than it was before I started watching you that day?
Is it because the Eagles had 0 yards passing, or was it because Kieran Williams was running all over the defenders like he was a dog that got out, while the defenders looked like jackasses trying to catch him? But despite everything that went on, the Eagles came through. 33-26, and well, I'll tell you how we got there. The scoring got off to a great start because Zach Bond intercepted Matthew Stafford on one of the first plays of the game, and I was like, okay, maybe we're going to win this game. Tush push, touchdown, cool. Rams score a field goal. All right, we're good. Defense is good. 3 and out. Okay, this is getting a little scary. Punt. Rams score. Through it all, the Eagles had zero yards passing. Saquon Barkley's running ability was gone. A.J. Brown wasn't catching the ball. Devontae Smith nowhere to be found. And this offense looked atrocious. I was calling for the offensive coordinator to be fired or at least do something. I was literally yelling at my TV when in the second half, Jalen Hurts throws a 30-yard strike to none other than Dallas Goedert. Now, before that, we got to talk about he took a big hit by Jalen McCullough and then got stripped early on in the third quarter. It was 19-7. Big strike to Dallas Goedert touchdown. It was 14-26. After that, we get the ball back. A throw to A.J. Brown in the end zone. The defender tried to push off and act like he didn't do anything, but it was a touchdown. And in the fourth quarter, the Eagles managed to block a field goal. Now, I don't know if it was Jalen Carter spinning on the ball or was it his big ball, but either way, we got the ball back with a minute and 58 left in the game. Well, Jalen Hurts throws a strike in the corner of the end zone to a Devontae Smith running an out route, and then the Rams start driving, and I'm just like, okay, am I gonna lose this game? That's all right. It was bad to begin with, and then Jordan Davis blocked the ball, scooped it up, and went in for the score, 33-26. And yes! And Davis is going all the way! Speaking of block kicks, there were 4 on Sunday. The New York Jets scooped and scored on a block kick, but Baker Mayfield was not to be deterred. He led a game-winning drive where they kicked a field goal and won the game. Baker Mayfield has looked really good. Mike Evans showed that he could catch some touchdowns, and Emeka Egbuka is definitely showing that, hey, I'm the best wide receiver coming out of the draft. Forget about everyone else. Caleb Williams looks sharp against the Dallas defense that is non-existent ever since Micah Parsons got traded to the Green Bay Packers, and you can blame Jerry Jones for that. 31-14, Caleb Williams became the best quarterback in Bears history when he threw for 4 touchdowns, and now Chicago has free hot dogs. Hey, it's a good trade-off. It makes you the greatest quarterback of all time, but not the greatest of all time is being a Dallas Cowboys fan. It's like getting stuck in one of Jerry Jones' glory holes. The defense looked atrocious. Dak Prescott didn't look great. CeeDee Lamb went down. It was just a bad game, but Ben Johnson finally gets his first win, and so does Caleb Williams with Ben Johnson. Moving on to the Los Angeles Chargers and the Denver Broncos. Well, Denver looked pretty good early on. I thought they were going to win the game. Defense showed that they were a lot better, but Bo Nix. People are starting to lose hope in Bo Nix and maybe calling for Jarrett Stidham. I don't think that's going to happen because, it's Jarrett Stidham, but overthrow on a flea flicker to Marvin Mims, drop. Overthrowing multiple receivers, check the box. And over, when it seemed like, well, the Denver Broncos have this game in hand, Bo Nix happened. RJ Harvey had 2 carries for 2 yards. J.K. Dobbins had a big first drive of the third quarter, ran it in for a touchdown after a swing pass from Bo Nix. At least he didn't overthrow him that time. But at the end of the day, it was Justin Herbert who decided that he was going to be Superman, put the team on his back, or Marianne Hampton showed up when Najee Harris went down, and on the last drive of the game, they kicked a field goal. It's the same way the Broncos have lost the last 2 games. One's against the Colts, and this time against the Chargers. I will say that I think Sean Payton has become the cowardly lion from Wizard of Oz, because gone are the days that he was going to do an onside kick in the Super Bowl against the Indianapolis Colts, and instead of going for it on 4th and 1, he decided to chicken out, and that led to the game-winning field goal. And the Denver Broncos are looking in big troubles. They were one of the teams that I thought were going to be really good this year, and they just haven't played up to snuff. Sometimes it's the defense, sometimes it's the offense, but they just can't get it together. The San Diego Chargers, on the other hand, now have a 3-0 record for the first time since 2002, when I was 11 years old, and This Is How You Remind Me was the #1 song on the radio that year. Jonathan Taylor is one of the greatest running backs in the NFL right now. 3 touchdowns, over 100 yards. He's also the quietest. You know what else is quiet? Daniel Jones, who threw over 200 yards and a score. He has to be the best game manager since Chad Pennington. I would say Troy Aikman, but a lot of people would rip my head off for that. And plus, Troy Aikman has 3 Super Bowls, so you can't call him the greatest game manager of all time if that's the case. As for the Titans, Cam Ward looked up and down. He threw an interception that went to the end zone. Tried to throw it to Stonehand Ridley, who can't catch the ball to save his life. My brother said if my life was on the line and it was up to Calvin Ridley to catch a ball, he would just already pack up and say, get my affairs in order. The defense looks bad. The offensive line looks bad. Brian Callahan is being called to be fired. But speaking of other AFC South games, Trevor Lawrence had 1 interception. Etienne had a touchdown, and both teams played really poorly. CJ Stroud looks worse than a Bryce Young, who threw for a touchdown yesterday. Threw for a touchdown on Sunday. CJ Stroud threw 1 touchdown and 2 interceptions. What is the problem with the Texans? Well, it's their offensive line that can't block a cold, can't block. They're like a submarine with a screen door on it. Water's getting in. Everything's getting in.
They're basically like mall cop, letting everybody in and saying, hey, here's our quarterback, sack him. We don't like him anyways. At least that's the way they're treating him. Defensively, I think the Texans are really good. Packers and Browns. Now, everybody was thinking that the Browns were going to lose this game, but suddenly they were good on defense. They've always been good, but offensively, they're a train wreck. The offense couldn't score until the last quarter, I believe, where they scored a field goal and then a touchdown after an interception from Jordan Love, who did not look like himself. Josh Jacobs' streak of every game with the touchdown has now ended. And another blocked field goal happened when the Browns blocked the Green Bay Packers, scooped it up on their 40-something yard line, got into field goal range, and kicked a game-winning field goal, 13-10. And the Green Bay Packers suffer their first loss, and people are saying, well, maybe they're not Super Bowl contenders just yet. Defensively, they're great. Offensively, they can still have games like that. San Francisco versus Arizona, 15-16 game. Mac Jones, did enough to win the game. Christian McCaffrey led the way, and the 49ers are finding ways to win. Connor went down. That's unfortunate. You never want to see a player go down. He's going to be out for the season. Kyler Murray looked like he was in Call of Duty mode. It's going to be released pretty soon. Marvin Harrison dropped an important pass. Defensively, I think the Cardinals played pretty good. 49ers played pretty good. They lost Nick Bosa to a torn ACL. He's going to be out. It was a very defensive battle. I don't know if that was by design. Both defenses were just that good, or both offenses were that bad. Unfortunately, the New Orleans Saints didn't show up to Seattle. Sam Darnold did. He scored 2 touchdowns. Kenneth Walker scored 2 touchdowns. It was 44-13, the final score. The New Orleans Saints are going to embrace the tank. They're 0-3. Yeah, I don't think they're as bad as the New York Giants, and I'll talk about them in a little bit. The Minnesota Vikings beat up on the Cincinnati Bengals when Browning threw 2 interceptions. The defense got gashed around by Jordan Mason like they were an uninterested domestic house cat. And Carson Wentz looks to be the next redemption story for KOC. The Patriots, on the other hand, had 4 fumbles a few of them in the red zone. The Pittsburgh Steelers still are one of the worst tackling defenses. They were coming into that game with an 18.2 missed tackle percentage. That's not really good, but Aaron Rodgers did find a way to win the game for them. The defense held on just enough. It was a close game. It was 21-14, but somehow the Steelers held on. Miami Dolphins were driving down the field to tie the game with the Buffalo Bills, but Tua Tagovailoa is too conservative. I don't know what's wrong with his arm. He threw an interception on a short dink and dunk play, and the Buffalo Bills held on to win that game. And on Sunday night, the Giants and the Chiefs, Russell Wilson showed some flashes that he could still scramble around, but then he started arm punting to the other team. At one point, I thought Russell Wilson was so delirious. He started chucking the ball out of bounds like his receivers were 10 feet tall. One time, he throws it at the goalpost, thinking it's on his team, although it does have a Giants logo on it. I don't think an inanimate object is going to help you win football games. And thinking that his receivers are impervious to injury because he was throwing some hospital balls. I'm looking at you, Malik Neighbors. And on Monday night, it was a doozy of a football game. A lot of the ESPN Monday Night Football guys were saying, oh, the Ravens are going to win this game. It's going to be a high-scoring game. And it was a high-scoring game. But the Detroit Lions sacked Lamar Jackson 7 times, including a fumble on 4th down that he had to recover on his own. Derrick Henry, on the same play from 2 weeks ago, fumbled the ball in the same exact spot. He was visibly upset. As for Jared Goff, he played a heck of a game. He helped me win my fantasy football game. But the real story of this game was Gibbs and Montgomery, who ran all over the Baltimore Ravens defense and gashed them and gashed them and gashed them. Final score 38-30, but it was honestly over before the Ravens scored 30 on a Mark Andrews touchdown. But thanks for helping me win my fantasy game. And that has been the weekly recap. If you like football analysis, well, Hilltime Sports is the place. But I got to give a big shout out to Brandon Perna at That's Good Sports, who helped me through his community get me over 100 subscribers. I owe him a debt of gratitude. So if you guys like him, if you guys like football analysis with some good humor, some crassness, then he's your guy. Go over there, give him a like, subscribe. And like and subscribe here. I'll see you in the next video. Adios.